banana shallots, escallions, whatever they're called. Got about 20 different names. Why am I using these? Because they're sweeter in taste than onions. That's all. They're also a lot more expensive.
It's still the cheapest meal in the world.
Yeah, so you can do these. I quite like them. They cook quickly. So we're just going to prep this up. Lots of peeling. You can see the amount of crap and stuff we're throwing away. Quite a lot of it. Sometimes, if you get some greenery in the middle, and you want to be thorough, you can remove it because some people claim that's bitter. To be honest, in the middle of a super powerful chili, it's been cooked for a while and then left for all the flavours to infuse together overnight. Which you can eat it tonight, but if you wanted to have it the next day, it's better. Then these little refinements are pointless. So I'm just going to get rid of some obvious bits. Just check anything that you don't like the look of, get rid of. Just put that to one side.
Now, is it true that the smelly bit of an onion is the heart as well? Have I totally made that up? Is that a myth?
I've not heard that. But some may say I don't listen.
I do. That's clearly the problem.
So we're not going to do anything grand about these. We're just going to cut them all roughly 2 to 3 millimeters. Because they're so layered, they're going to fall apart pretty quickly when we come to cook them. We're going to cook these once we've browned the meat, caramelised the meat. In the background, you can probably hear the wine reducing.
Let's go check in on that.
Just takes the alcohol out of it and concentrates up the flavours, which is what we want. We want to make a nice, rich sauce.
And how long are you reducing this wine for?
I reduced it to about a third of what it was. A bottle of wine.
About a third.
So it's going to go down to about 250, 200 mils. I'm using a wide pan. It comes up temperature faster. So at the moment, we're about halfway. You can see it's beginning to catch some really nice, interesting colours on the top.
Yeah.
It's really quite
I think you
charming.
can get that on the camera, yeah. And on if someone had a gas hob, would this be medium high?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely spot on.
For about as long enough as is needed to get to a third.
So, when it comes to chili, you can use mincemeat with a certain level of fat in it, which you then brown and drain off excess fat. Or I thought I'd have a go with some rump steak. We're very fortunate that near here we've got probably one of the finest butchers in the UK. A shameless plug for Philip Warren, who doesn't need a plug, to be honest. He's doing so well. But the meat's great. So this is just a rump steak. I normally, it's just gorgeous. Look at this. It's lovely. Probably eat that raw. I've left this out for a while just to get to room temperature. And all I'm going to do is trim off anything that I don't particularly want to eat. Doggy-like bits.
Tell you what, these don't look very misshapen to me.
No.
So much for the offcuts, yeah.
So it really is superb stuff. And then all I'm going to do is prep them into bite-sized pieces, really, because I want my chili to be chunky. It's just a better, different experience. Ground meat's fine. Minced meat, ground meat, whatever you want to call it. If you're American, it's ground. So nice sizes. And what we're going to do with these is we're going to caramelize them in a pan, quite high heat. If they're not brown, you've got no real taste. So there's no point in having food without taste. So you can see it's very easy to cut. So it's truly gorgeous stuff. You can see that, lightly marbled. If I was cooking these steaks, you literally only do them about 2 inches aside, and then leave them stand for 5 to 15 minutes, depending on your preference.
And
nice little lump there.
if someone wanted to go to the supermarket and pick up some cuts of steak or beef to do this, what would you recommend?
I'd recommend, depending on how long you intend to cook it, if you want to serve it tonight, then I would go for something that's going to be great, and I would just use, if you got the cash, go to Lidl and get some rump steaks. The value is just unbelievable. It's off the scale, the meat quality is very good. If you want to go further and feed more, get some lean mince beef, again, instant. Probably needs a little bit more cooking or a bit more relaxing once you've taken it off the hob, leave it for 20 minutes. So all those proteins just relax a bit. If you want to go completely nutters on it, I wouldn't go much beyond rump. If I'm going to cook it for maybe 24 hours in a slow cooker, then I'd be using beef skirt, which is really, really inexpensive. And that's gorgeous. Your local butcher will be able to serve you substantial quantities of that. So if you're cooking maybe for 6 or 8 people, beef skirt, super economical, tasty, but it will need to be cooked for 8 hours plus to get the most out of it. Sort of beef that you'd use for a bourguignon, or if you want to do a really nice beef curry, for example.
Sure.
So that's done. What we're going to do now is just, because we're in prep mode, because our Lord and Master, the Prime Minister's going to give a speech at 7 o'clock. So we're doing all this, which is what we would have aired while we were, for the 10 minutes that he's going to provide us with a inspiring message. So these are just medium chilies. Very, very nice. I'm leaving the seeds in because I quite like them spicy. Seeds are where most of the spice is in this.
Sure. So if someone wanted a less spicy version, they could still use the fresh chilies, but take out the seeds.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not going to do much for the garlic, so I want to do that closer to the time, because I don't want a lot of the volatiles coming off. We're going to use our chopped chili, which I'm going to come to in a sec. Also, in my little pot here, got some bay leaves I've picked earlier, which are nice for adding a gorgeous complexity. Really gorgeous. And then I have this wonderful lemon oregano, which is marvelous. Oregano's often used. We've got the chocolate that we've talked about, which is a significant component of Central American cooking. You could go super dark if you want it dark. I'm not a fan in this cooking. It might be all right for some people. Again, 46% cocoa. 46 to 65 is where I like this to work. And we're also going to add some ground cumin to this, which is quite important, because that's just, have a whiff of that. That's just something else. Just earthy, but sweet. Lovely.
That's one hell of a mix.
It is. So in principle, as a hot start, we are reducing that, which has got about 4 or 5 minutes to go. We're going to brown this off, whop in the onions, get some nice clear onions in there. Then we're going to add some tomato puree. It's going to give us a really thick, interesting sauce. Once we've boiled off all the bitterness in the tomato puree, we're then going to use our gorgeous chocolate chili, which I can't speak highly enough of. And James, I'm sure, let's all know the fine details. And we're going to reduce this down with the beef. So to get all the rich flavors in here and boil off the alcohol. As it's a liqueur, it's got some sugar in it. So often with chili con carne, you're going to add a little bit of sugar to balance out things, but we won't need to be doing that because it's in here. So that's really good. Once all of that's a really interesting sauce, in is going to go the reduced wine. Then we're going to take some toms. I've got chopped toms, And oops, chopped toms and whole toms. About 2 cans is enough. And they're going to go in. That's going to form the majority of the base of it. At that point, we're then going to melt in our choc, pop in our beans, chilies, garlic, stir like Billio, simmer it all to a gorgeous look. And what we're looking for is a really interesting sheen on our tomato sauce. It should have almost a silky smoothness to it. That's going to be achieved by emulsifying the fats in the chocolate. And if we haven't quite got there, it's quite good to add maybe 1 or 2 knobs of butter at that stage. And then you're going to cook to the point that you're happy with it, both in terms of thickness, both in terms of seasoning. For me, an hour is great, certainly more than enough for what we have in here in terms of cooking it all thoroughly. But if I want all those flavours to infuse throughout, I do like just taking it off and leaving it for the next day, and then serving it either for lunch or outside evening meal. Choice is your own. That's not saying when you first cooked it for an hour, it doesn't taste great. It does. You wait the extra day, it's superb. So, do you want great or superb? It's your choice. Cheers. Okay, let's get there.
Well, yeah, well, I'll speak a little bit more about our wonderful chocolate chili. Again, it's a spirit that does not need much introduction for most of our customers that have tried it before. It is near enough about as much chocolate as you can get in a bottle. It may look unassuming because it isn't brown, but the taste of the cacao in there is absolutely fantastic. It's made with our own vodka that we make from sugar beet, which we single distill ourselves in small batches. So the vodka is got a lovely creamy undertone to it, which just melds beautifully with the chocolate flavour, as well as being exceptionally smooth. So you're only putting good stuff in your food. The chili in it is very much, it's only a little bit of chili that comes on the end. So this is really about rich, velvety chocolate, gorgeous flavour at 25% ABV. Just a little hint of chili on the end, which means that if you want to spice it up by putting in a dish like this, then all the better. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 3 of Cooking with English Spirit. I am once again by Master Distiller and Master Chef Dr. John Walters. We are currently knee-deep in the preparation of this evening's meal, which is a chocolate chili con carne. Yes, you heard that correctly. Now, we've already started preparing some of the ingredients, so we'll talk you through what they are and what we've done so far. But we've already taken a film of that, so we'll be uploading it all in one go once we upload this to YouTube and our website. So we will, let's just, John, if you could give us an overview of where we got to so far.
Yeah, so what we've done is we're going to use some red wine later, so we've reduced a bottle of red wine down to around about a fifth of what it was. It's quite nice. A stack full of flavour. We're going to use that in the sauce to intensify umamis and other delights.
And that was a bottle of red wine that's reduced down to that amount. Yep.
Any old plonk will do. That was very inexpensive, so that was great. Got some scallions, shallots here, 4 small ones, just coarsely cut. Some chilies, medium chilies that we're going to use to give it a bit of a piquant. And then I'm using meat tonight. You could use mince meat, which is very traditional. I'm just using this because I had it in the fridge. And this is just some rump steak. It's a bit decadent, I know, but it was going to go off, so best use it. Got some garlic here. And then we've got some choc. We've got various sorts of tomatoes, a bit of ground cumin, some lovely oregano, and some bay leaves. So what we're going to start with, while this is going on, is browning off our meat. If we don't brown, we have no taste. So I'm just going to put this in, hot pan, and we're going to get some colour on there. And when we've got the colour, we're then going to add some onions, a little bit of oil in there. This is super hot at the moment. You can see it's not going to take very long at all. And that smells great already. Very, very easy. And the whole purpose of this is to use our chocolate chili liqueur to give us that lovely chocolatiness that you'd have from some great Central American cuisine, and the piquant from the chili that we have already captured in that liqueur. Plus, because it's a liqueur, it has sugar in it, so we can use that to balance out some other bits and bobs as well. So pretty straightforward. This will take around about 4 or 5 minutes. Now, don't burn your hands, he says. You can see we're beginning to get some lovely caramelization starting, and that means oceans of Maillard reaction going on, which is where the proteins and the sugars in the meat cross-link to give you that golden complexity and taste. So typically, if I'm cooking a steak, which this is just in chunks, then I will have a super hot pan and I'll caramelize my steak for about 2 to 3 minutes aside, depending on how thick it is, and that's certainly more than enough to grab all that flavour. And so just wait a sec there. And whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to creep over here and grab some tomato puree. Going to use shortly. The next stage is to add a little splash of oil. Now, a lot of people would use don't use virgin olive oil, because the flash point of virgin olive oil is around about 200 Celsius. And so as soon as you put it in, you're going to break it down and cause some off notes. So use something that's got a higher flash point. And you can use sunflower oil, perfectly fine, because we're not adding it for flavour, remember. We're adding it to emulsify bits and pieces in there. Or rapeseed oil is great too. So one is less than £1 a litre, and if you want to go fancy, you can pay as much as you can for that. In this dish, I wouldn't be spending any money, because all of the flavours are so intense, the oil isn't really going to make much of a difference. And you can see now, get some gorgeous look on those. If I was doing mince, I'd brown it too. We have a lot of, probably quite a lot of oil coming off, and I'd strain that out before the next step. Mince is perfectly fine. It's just entirely your choice. Could use bacon. I've never tried it. Some people use turkey mince. I've never seen people use chicken, but you could do. Worth a try. So, I'm just going to give that a second or two more. A few bits there. So that's looking, imagine that on your tortilla chip. Little chunk with some beans around it. Much dripping sauce.
Yeah.
That's going to be really nice. It's going to be a nice eating experience.
Yeah.
And you have to think about how you want to eat it. So I'm kind of okay with that at the moment. So I'm going to use some rapeseed oil, just a bit. And then as that warms up, I'm then going to bung in my onions over the top. I'm going to add my chilli a bit later, so I don't want garlic, sorry, so I don't want to burn that in any way. And just going to cook these slightly so they start to fall apart. Already smelling good. Next stage, I'm going to add a little bit of tomato puree. The puree really gives you a gorgeous richness to the sauce, provided you cook it out. Now at the moment, this is smelling a bit like a burger van, because we've got beef notes and we've got onions. Very good burger van, which is quite nice. A bit of a travelling around. I don't know if burger vans are allowed to open at the moment.
Well, they smell a lot better than I remember burger vans smelling.
Yeah. So what I want to do here, I've kept it high. Now, if I didn't have this temperature high, the water coming out of the onions would sit in there and start poaching this, which would be terrible. So you want this on quite a high heat. Otherwise, you're going to end up, you can see the steam coming off, yeah? We don't want that. We also don't want to burn anything. So we're kind of getting roughly where we need to go now. You can see onions are beginning to become translucent. and we don't want them to have too much colour on them because, you know, you might like burnt onions, but we're avoiding that hot dogness in this meal. So I'm then going to take a good tablespoon of any old puree, that's quite nice. I'm going to zap this around a bit to cook it out. This, as we've said in other instances, removes the acidity and bitterness and just has this intense tomato taste that's going to amplify our use of, in this case, canned tomatoes later on. So
Sure.
We're nearly there. Just going to coat it all the way around. The next bit's the exciting bit because we get to use one of our liqueurs to boil off. And that's going to do two things. It's going to bring all of this together, and we're going to be any burnt bits, caramelised bits on the bottom of this pan are going to be whipped up into the sauce so we don't waste anything. I'm going to be transferring this to a different pan though. So you can see that's pretty good now. I'm next going to add my liqueur, which has been lurking somewhere.
Here it is.
Drunk, James drank that.
I'll be having another one in a second.
And so I normally add around about 150 mils, which is a bit ridiculous for that time.
It's a lot of chocolate.
It's a lot of chocolate. So, and you begin. Oh, have a sniff of that. Get in there.
Oh, wow.
Now we're starting. So as soon as that, you can see. Oh my gosh. Sadly, we don't have sniffer vision, but it's just immensely deep chocolate notes, and we're just boiling off the alcohol. That's beginning to form a gorgeously looking sauce already. So at this point, I could transfer it to a saucepan, which I'm going to, because we're going to start bulking up the volume. So I'll do that.
Let's come back to talk a little bit about now. For anyone who hasn't tried our chocolate chili vodka before, you are totally missing out. Those you have who will know just how delicious it tastes. You can't get much more liquid chocolate in a bottle if you tried, with a very nice sugar beet vodka underneath, creamy undertones, very, very smooth. It is so chocolatey, you wouldn't believe. What better way to enjoy it than by putting it in a scrumptious chili?
Okay, so the next bit I'm going to do is I'm going to take my red wine. I'm going to put that in. Look at that. Oh, you can see how viscous that is.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that is. By reducing it, I've just concentrated up all the flavours, and it does make such a big difference. You have a look in there now. We're beginning to get this gorgeous look to it. And so at this point, I'm just going to wait for it to boil. And we'll start adding other things. You could have added the cumin earlier. Some people do that. I don't particularly like doing that. Some people fry it with the meat. But I'm not adding a lot, so I'm just going to add about, that's up a half teaspoon. In it goes. Ground cumin. And at this point, I can now start adding the garlic and also ground chilies. Just cook this a bit. And what load of chilies.
Now what we're going to be doing this evening is we've already done some preparation, but we're just going to show you how to take your prepped ingredients and put them in the pot. We'll give you some tips on how to do that, but we're not going to show the serve this evening because we actually recommend to you can serve it within an hour or two if you like, but if you want to make it really superb, then it's best to leave it overnight. So remember, if you do have any questions about anything that we're doing at the moment, you want to check anything about ingredients or anything at all, please do ask. I can answer you in the comments.
And while that's coming up to boil, because I realised I wasn't going to have some supper if I didn't cook any, I roasted a chicken. So.
Oh, look!
So that's the chicken stuffed with this, that, and the other.
Right, I'm gonna not focus on the chicken. I can smell it, but I'm not gonna look at it. We'll stay on track.
2 meals for the price of 57. So as that's boiling away, I'm just going to add my favourite herbs to this. And traditionally it would be oregano. I'm going to add some bay just to give it some complexity. 2 bay leaves in there. And you can smell it. Now it's already beginning to get a bit con carne-like. And I've got some lovely lemon oregano. And that will start to get going.
Wowzer.
Yeah, and we're beginning to get some. Oh, that's got such a classic. Even now, this is just a marvellously rich, decadent chili con carne. It's just obviously no beans yet, so I'm going to do those next. And next, the really inexpensive bits, chopped tomatoes. You could, you know, make this a lot more complicated and delicious if you can. I'm just going to stir these in. It's a very, very inexpensive dish, but it's gorgeous because you can serve it in so many different ways. And we've taken it to the next level with our chopped chili. So I'm just going to get that there. It's gorgeously dark. It's going to get darker in a minute because I'm going to put some more chocolate in.
Some
ridiculous.
more chocolate.
So baked bean, use kidney beans or cannellini beans or mixed beans, whatever you want. If they're in a can, give them a thorough rinse. There'll be lots of gunk in there, which is what I've done. I'll blend those in. This is going to be a gorgeously intense meal. Normally, once you've got all these together, I would normally just simmer for an hour, and then it's pretty much good to go. I prefer to leave it overnight and reheat it the next day, because once you've boiled for an hour, or simmered for an hour, all the flavours come out. They haven't entirely integrated as far as I'm concerned. It's great, but it's not superb. If you want it to be superb, leave it overnight and come back and warm it next day. Now, chocolate. How much chocolate is too much chocolate? I've got this 46% chocolate from Lidl. Perfectly fine.
Good.
I'm going to put 4 in. 6 maybe, if you wanted to. If you're a true chocolate lover, might overdo it. And this will gradually make a gorgeous, silky smooth coat on top. If you want to go an extra step, 3 or 4 cubes, small cubes, centimetre cubes of butter in there. And this is now a 1-pot wonder, served with rice, spicy rice, garlic bread, tortilla, unleavened bread, whatever you can. Absolutely gorgeous.
Jill asks, for the wine used, does it matter if it's cheap wine, any particular wine that would work well?
I think cheap wine's best. There's no point because there's so many massive flavours in here. We're just trying to add body with the wine rather than give a particular style of wine its taste. So I just used Australian Shiraz from Lidl, at around about a £5 a bottle. Perfectly fine. I had intent to use, because of the Hispanic roots, an equally inexpensive Rioja, but I forgot. So that's where we are with that. Will anybody know? Hopefully not. So if you have a look now, we're developing quite a nice sheen to that. It's very dark looking delight. And I'm just going to finish off with a few moles of butter.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's difficult looking in a dark pot with a dark sauce.
Well, you can see the sheen on top.
So this will be absolutely glorious. You could put some, when you come to serve, flat leaf parsley, finely cut, delicious. That really does take it to the next level, actually, if you'd like to do that. So all I'm going to do now is put this on simmer. And then when it comes time to serve, I'm going to adjust my seasoning to whatever I like, gradually. Or if I'm going to eat it the next day, I'll do it closer to the time. So I would now put this on simmer, 40, 55 minutes, with the lid on. Last 10 minutes, lid off, to get the kind of viscosity that you're after. Entirely your choice. You might like it runny, you might, you know, if you're going to have it in a bowl and use it as a kind of soup and you don't want any carb with it, or you want to dip garlic bread or tortilla in it, you might want it slightly runnier. If you prefer it thicker, then obviously you can reduce for a bit longer. Because we've got meat in here, I would probably take it off the boil, off the simmer. If I want to serve it, I just leave it for 10 or 15 minutes, give that meat a chance just to relax it too. Treat it exactly the same as a steak, and you should be good to go. And that is chili con carne with our chopped chili liqueur. Really, really nice.
I'm looking forward to it. Now, just for me to recap, so how much seasoning has gone in that pot so far?
Seasoning so far, I've used no seasoning. I didn't use salt at all.
Yeah.
So let's see where we are. Because we have the chopped tomatoes, have salt content in them anyway, and a few other bits and pieces in there. So I'm just going, because meat does require quite a lot of seasoning, I'll just have a quick look. It's going to be very hot, but let's see where look at that sauce. It's absolutely gorgeously brown red sauce.
Wow.
Yeah. So let's just see where we are. Not much. I mean, it hasn't thickened yet, but my gosh. So I'm probably adding a teaspoon of Malden sea salt there.
Sure.
Which won't be far off. Leave that cook through. If I'll just get another spoon, social distancing, James, and you can try it at its elementary stage.
Thank you, John.
And of course, some sort of something to rest the spoon on. Where that's gone. So, there we go. Good.
Thank you.
So you should get a lot of the flavours already.
Oh my.
So we're getting hot chili con carne there.
Wow.
Classic chili con carne. Yeah.
Wow, that is. I mean, you can get the chocolate in there, but the sweetness is spot on. That just adds a whole other dimension to
It
it.
does, doesn't it?
Wow. I'd never thought of doing that before.
No, and remember, if you are going to use, if you're a fan of cocoa, 70%, 90%, whatever else, you are going to have to balance out that bitterness.
Sure.
And so be aware of that.
And is there anything to be said for putting in darker cocoa and then balancing the sweetness? Is there a good side to doing that?
It's just entirely down to your own preference. You know, some people love it, but they might not like it in cooking. They might like it as a last course with coffee or whatnot. When I've used it, I never go beyond 70 because I find the bitterness becomes a bit too much. And usually you're trying to sort of sugarcoat the pill at that point, so you're trying to add small amounts of sugar back to take that bitterness away, but retain a lot of the essential cocoa oils, which is where a lot of that cocoa taste can be, as well as the solids. So yeah,
Sure.
you're just going to have to play around until you get it spot on, dial up the sugar to your own taste, and dial in salt until the flavours are enhanced. Salt enhances flavour. So you want to just add little bits till it just comes up perfectly. A little bit at a time, maybe 3 or 4 minutes apart, so you're dialing it in, stirring it thoroughly. If you're adding a small amount, still got to disperse. You don't want to come across a pocket and you think you've got the whole job done.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, leave it, job done. That now is going to wait. It's just beginning to simmer there. And that's the kind of level of simmer I'd like for 40 to 55 minutes.
Gotcha.
and it really is gorgeous because we're getting the red kidney bean smell comes over the top. You can almost smell the husk of the bean. And it's really, really rich carbohydrate, mouth-watering. And then we've got that classic chili con carne with a chocolate profile and some of those gorgeously volatile chili notes, sweet, flavoury, peppery, reminding you that it should be hot in your head. We'll find out. If it's not hot enough, you can make it hotter. Chili flakes are a great way of doing that too. So this isn't a bad starting point. It's going to be a long wait until tomorrow evening, but that's life.
Now, in terms of balancing, if someone decides there's not enough sweetness or there's not enough chocolate in it, presumably at this point someone could add more chocolate chili liqueur. Absolutely. Should they want to. Yeah, so it's just a very chocolatey form of seasoning. Fantastic. And if we were to eat this tonight, just one more time, how long would you say would be the minimum to leave this on simmer before it'd be good enough to plate up?
I'd probably go 45 minutes. I know it's a bit longer, but you can have a drink. And then bring it off the boil, leave it for maybe 10 minutes. Just so it relaxes a touche and then plate.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Great.
This is the next day. We've now made our wonderful chili con carne. Look at the colour of that. It smells great too. Absolutely gorgeous. And we're going to put a little bit in there and try some bay leaf there.